I'm a big fan of the Nativity Christmas films, but I do think that Nativity 3, Dude, Where's My Donkey, is the weakest. It's got 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb, which is a very low rating, and that's across under 2,000 reviews, which is not many for IMDb. So I don't know if people just got bored of the series by this point and just didn't even watch it and review it, but the people who have seen it, largely, I don't know anybody who's had that many positive things to say about it. That being said, as an adult who loves British cinema, I love the cast. And that's one thing that keeps me going when watching it. Well, I say it keeps me going when watching it. I've watched it once and I won't be watching it again. But I found it alright. It wasn't completely unbearable. So, we're at the same school as previously. We're at St Bernadette's. And Mr. Poppy, played by the fabulous Marc Wootton, is of course still there. And they also have a new teacher, Mr. Shepherd, played by Martin Clunes. He loses his memory. And in fact, I'll read the description from IMDb because it just sounds so ludicrous, and the narrative really is quite as bad as it sounds. The pupils of St Bernadette's and the madcap Mr. Poppy are back. When their new teacher, Mr. Shepherd, loses his memory, as well as Archie the Donkey, it's up to them to save the day and reunite him with his fiancée Sophie in New York. Prepare for a race against time, fantastic flashmobs, and plenty of Christmas fun on their greatest adventure yet. So I think maybe setting it, or, having that whole reuniting them in New York, maybe they were trying to go bigger and better. Maybe they were trying to reach an American audience. I'm not sure if these have even been released in the States. I imagine they're probably on Netflix. But I feel like they were kind of, trying to go bigger and better. But the reverse happened. It just went weaker and smaller. The narrative is dull. It doesn't progress very well. It's very predictable. And yes, one could argue that this is perhaps more of a children's film. It's a universal. And yeah, I think maybe if you're a child, you'll enjoy the singing and the dancing. There are a lot of great costumes and bright colours. That aspect of it, they've done well. And they do that well across all three of them. But the previous two, definitely the first one, most of the time the second one, are what I would consider to be more family films. I think they're enjoyable for people of all ages. Nativity 3, I feel, is definitely a lot more aimed at the younger audience. I don't think they were intending that. But the execution of the narrative is so poor that it's hard to kind of stay captivated as an adult. But if you're a young child, I think you'll enjoy it. Well, maybe. It's definitely not as good as the first two, but it's still got something in it. It's written and directed by Debbie Isett, and that's the same behind Nativity and Nativity 2, so it's unusual. And also Nativity Rocks, which I haven't seen. It's a musical version, I believe. I'll probably see it at some point. But it's unusual that the tone, the theme, the quality, just everything is so much weaker with this one. Maybe it was a budgeting issue, I don't know. But obviously the script itself is not as strong. The only thing I guess that is as good is the cast. The cast is still top quality as it was with the previous two. And obviously it is one of those best of British films. Obviously Martin Clunes and Marc Wootton, Catherine Tate, Ralph Little, the fabulous Jason Watkins as Mr. Shakespeare again. For me, he's definitely essential in these films. Celia, Imrie, Susie Blake. It's brilliant. The cast is utterly incredible. The child actors are adorable, as always. I just think the script itself, the narrative, it's not even that it's an interesting idea that was poorly executed. I think it was just a really bad idea, and the story itself just wouldn't have been interesting even if it had been done amazingly. It's not really what one would expect from Nativity. Obviously, yes, it has its moments where it feels like a Nativity. It's not gone completely off the rails. But it's definitely not in the same league as the other two. If you've seen Nativity Rocks, let me know what you think of it. I will see if I can find it. It's probably on Netflix or something. But certainly I don't think I'd ever watch Nativity 3 again. 1 and 2, yes. The third one, watch it if you're a big fan of the series, but if you're just looking for a fun Christmas film, this one isn't going to deliver.